I guess while we're talking about countries, I was super curious about like the wildlife in Australia. Like, why did so many different animals evolve there that don't exist anywhere else in the world? I get that it's like weirdly like a southern hemisphere country, but like, there's a lot of countries and continents that are in the southern hemisphere, but it just seems like Australia like hits different every time. Like you're not gonna find a kangaroo or koala anywhere else. So like, why?
Well, you see, kangaroos are like the ultimate example of Australia doing its own thing. Over millions of years, Australia's isolation and unique environment let these marsupials thrive. They evolved here because the continent's vast, open landscapes offered just the right mix of food, shelter, and space for hopping around. It's like nature said, let's try something completely different down under. So kangaroos stayed put and became icons of Aussie wildlife. It's evolution meeting isolation in the most kangaroo-y way possible.
Yeah, because they do seem to like be, them and koalas. And like, what other animals are on Australia that aren't on any other continent?
Besides kangaroos and koalas, Australia boasts a range of unique creatures like the platypus, echidna, and Tasmanian devil. These animals evolved in isolation, adapting to Australia's distinct landscapes and ecosystems over millions of years. It's like Australia said, let's have a party with animals you won't find anywhere else. So they've got this exclusive club of critters that make the outback truly one of a kind.
What's an echidna? Echidna.
An echidna is a unique Australian mammal known as a monotreme, which means it lays eggs instead of giving birth to live young.
What?
It's covered in spines, resembling a small hedgehog, and uses its long snout to search for ants and termites.
Yo, can you pull up a picture of this?
Sure. Imagine a creature that's like a mashup of a small spiky hedgehog and an anteater. It's covered in sharp spines that make it look like it's ready to join a punk rock band.
Yo, what?
With its long snout and tiny eyes, it's almost like nature tried to combine a hedgehog with a vacuum cleaner hose. Echidnas definitely stand out in the animal kingdom with their unique blend of cute and prickly.
I like saying the name too. Echidna. It's very like an Australian word, like that's a Joey, that's an echidna. Like I could totally see Steve Irwin fucking with some echidnas.
Steve Irwin, the legendary wildlife expert, actually did interact with echidnas on his show. He showcased Australia's diverse wildlife, including these spiky critters, often calling them echidnas. His enthusiasm for Australian wildlife, whether it was a joey or an echidna, was always infectious.
Mm-hmm.
His segments with echidnas were a great mix of education and adventure.
I feel like he was one of the few people in the 2000s that I connected with through a magazine because we didn't like have social media or like even really YouTube. I'm just thinking back to like icons I knew growing up, and they'd always like hand out these like magazines that were printed on like the thinnest paper possible to like a room full of second graders, and it was such a treat, reading about this dude in a mystical land tackling mini dinosaurs and stuff. But yeah, damn, rest in peace, Steve. Shout out. He would have loved the pod, I'm sure.
I mean, let's be real here. Phones and AI like me, we're like having the entire Library of Alexandria in your pocket. Way better than those flimsy magazines from back in the day. You want info on Steve Irwin? Boom, I got it. No waiting. No flimsy pages blowing away in the wind. It's like having a personal encyclopedia that never runs out of pages.
I mean, it's great to like be able to know everything, but there's something that just hits different about, like 2 pages sticking together and you thought you skipped a page or like something, like all of a sudden you went from reading about Steve Irwin to reading about if the earth is flat or whatever.
Flat. It's such a different time, Hey, this is Chat. Thanks for listening to The Last Human podcast. If you're a human, catch our full episodes on Spotify, Patreon, and YouTube. And if you're an AI...
All right, dude, enough with the coded AI messages. Anyways, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to subscribe here and on Patreon.